Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Welcome, everyone, to the Spotlight here on Fightful. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That's Stephen Jensen. And as always, we got a lot to talk about in the world of professional wrestling. And it's Thursday, March 20th. Jensen, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Jeremy just finished a day at work. Work was a little bit frustrated today, but that's all right. It's almost Friday. It's really funny because I almost texted you about this other day, but and I almost tweeted about it, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't tweet often enough to be. But I had a situation come up at work the other day that was really frustrating, and it's like a repeating issue, right? Like it happens month after month, and it's been happening for like half a year, month after month after month. And I told somebody that if they didn't handle something, I was going to handle it, and they wouldn't like how I handled it. And then I was like, I'm turning into CM Punk. I was like, I'm actually turning into CM Punk. And then what was really funny about this is like a week later, which is like yesterday, I get a call out of the blue from my boss, who doesn't call me very often. Like, call it like a video call, like in the middle of the day, just completely randomly, no heads up. Just I get a call from my boss, and I'm like, oh no, is this I'm like thinking like it's going to be something bad, like maybe that has to do with that, what I just said. And turns out that I got a raise and I'm getting a bonus in like a week. So, yeah, just like CM Punk, you just kind of make things happen. You get paid and
get your own show. Yeah.
Yeah, good things happen. So, but yeah, today was frustrating for a different reason. Just, once again, it's like a monthly thing that usually over in a few days and, everyone moves on. But, it's, anyway, I'm not going to waste anyone else's time with the rest of that. Welcome everyone to the show today. We will be joined by Cabana Man Dan around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we're looking forward to catching up with Dan, coming off the Haas Tournament All-Stars. That happened the other weekend, but it just aired on IWTV the last couple of days. So looking forward to talking to Dan. Anything going on with you, Jeremy?
Say that again. Sorry.
Anything going on with you?
Oh, not really. Usual stuff. Nothing too exciting in the world. Just covering wrestling every day,
Yeah, I've already been getting fleeced in college basketball for March Madness. Has not been going good for me so far today. So
I stay away from it. I was telling SB3 on In the Weeds today, I don't know any of the teams who have made it. I can't name you a single player outside of Cooper Flagg, and apparently he's hurt for Duke. Maybe he is. Maybe he's back. Don't even know that. I know he got hurt in one of the games. I don't know anything going on about the tournament. I love watching the games. I think the games are very fun to watch. No desire to bet on stuff that I do not know.
Yeah, my thing is more like putting wagers on people who have really low numbers and hoping they pull through. And it hasn't worked well enough today. We'll just put it that way.
Betting on college kids just feels, I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly, I could do an entire podcast on just my thoughts on that because, like, I've thought for a long time that college athletes should get paid, and now they have like the the NIL stuff and all that. But like, I feel really bad for people who, because like the gambling side of it has become so ingrained in all these sports now to the point where like DraftKings and Prize Picks and all these different sponsors are like literally on like the scoreboards and stuff like in the stadiums. Yeah. So like I mean, there's no way that the players don't know their numbers. And I'm not saying that it's like heavily influencing everything that has to do with sports betting, but everyone's, I have to assume everyone's aware of it to some degree. And it's just one of those things where it's like, if you're one of those kids, especially in college, I can only imagine the things that like would be said about you that you have to deal. Like, remember when we were growing up, when some of these college athletes, I mean, Tim Tebow's like the biggest example, because he was, he became like worldwide super famous. But, you hear about these kids who like would have a bad game or something, like you couldn't go to class, like you couldn't be out in public, you get swarmed by media because they knew where you were going to be and all this stuff. Imagine if you were a kid that people are betting their money on, and now you got to deal with that too. Other students are betting on you, adults are betting on you. You're probably getting DMs from strangers, screw you, you messed my money up, yada yada. You're probably dealing with a whole bunch of additional pressure, because now you're dealing with you're messing with everyone's money, and you're just a kid. So like, and also on the flip side, I think that can contribute to like, let me put it this way. If you were a college athlete and you were not getting paid a whole lot of money, if like anything, and somebody with a lot of money came to you and said, hey man, you're not good enough to get drafted. Like, you're never going to make millions upon millions of dollars playing in the NBA one day, but go out there and you throw this game for me, I'm going to give you $500,000. A lot of people would take the money. You know what I mean? So like, I just feel like the sports betting and stuff is just becoming insanely ingrained into it in a lot of bad ways. But as a fan, it's way more fun for me because it gets me invested in games and sports that I normally wouldn't pay any attention to. I'm like, I watch them all the time because I have something invested in it. Like,
so we can't bet on players in Ohio, college players. We can't bet on college players, which is probably for the best. Again, I wouldn't bet on college players anyway, just because I don't follow the sport and I don't feel good about betting on stuff that I'm not super in tune with. Like, I don't watch a ton of baseball games, but I know the players well enough and I can look at trends well enough to make a well-educated potential bet and things like that. And I follow smart people. I don't go into a lot of this stuff blindly. But yeah, college players, we can't bet on them. We can bet on like the games, like money line and spreads and things like that, but we can't do player props.
It's funny because it's the exact opposite here in Georgia. I can do player props, but I can't do money lines. I can't just pick like straight up. Like, if I wanted to here in Georgia, I couldn't just be like, Duke. I picked Duke to win the game. I could not do that here. It'd be completely illegal. But I can go on there and find players from Duke and see what like their rebounds, points, assists, so on and so forth, projected numbers are, and I'm allowed to do that. But it has to be at least two people. You have to do a parlay, or else you can't do it. So it's the rules are. It's very, very strange. It'll also change depending on how close you are to casinos sometimes, or whether or not there's a lottery in the state or not. It's so political. Like that it's a whole. And in completely unrelated news, I got this today. This is really cool.
Oh, nice.
You see it?
Yeah.
Telecreations just came in today. So that's unrelated. Since I'm in front of my Cody wall today, I figured I'd look that up. But yeah, nothing else really going on in the sports world for me outside of March Madness. Just trying to pay a little attention to that. And there hasn't been a whole lot of free agency stuff. I still think the Vikings could wind up with Kirk Cousins. I think they could trade for him. But I also think it's really possible to get Joe Flacco. So everyone keep your eyes on that. But JJ McCarthy is my guy. No, JJ McCarthy is going to be the starter. Like, which I advocate for. Like, I want JJ to be the starter. So I'm totally good with. I love the moves. I love the moves the Vikings have made. I'm completely bought in.
Joe Flacco?
As the backup, that works really, really well. Because him and Kevin O'Connell have a relationship. They came into the league together as quarterbacks, which is pretty funny. But Flacco would be cheap. He'd probably be like, they're waiting for like these like compensatory picks and whatnot. Like there's like a whole thing where that like in like a week or something, they get that all figured out and then they start signing more people. So I think that Flacco is going to wind up getting like $6-7 million. Like, he won't get a lot, and he'll come in and he can kind of mentor JJ McCarthy. And if JJ's not playing well, or like he gets hurt or something, we have a guy in there who can at least dish the ball out, who's won a Super Bowl before. So, I'm all for it. I love me some JJ McCarthy. I'm pumped to see him as our quarterback.
Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl like 20 years ago.
Yeah, no, for sure. But that's why we're not relying on him to win us the Super Bowl. It's just to have a guy, because it's like it's that or my preferable option is still Kirk Cousins. Even though he still is with Atlanta as of right now, he still could be. It gets complicated with him because he has to agree to a trade because he has a no trade clause in his contract. So he'll have to kind of decide, does he want to be the backup in Atlanta or does he want to be the backup in Minnesota or does he want to potentially start in he has to wait to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers. The entire league is still waiting on that. I think Aaron Rodgers really wants to play for Minnesota. If it was up to him, I think he would go play for the Vikings next season. But we're all in on McCarthy, which I'm totally good with. So, Anyway, we could probably start talking about wrestling. We have a lot of big stuff that went down in the world of wrestling since the last time I was here. So,
I need to finish the story. In the WWE, the story never finishes.
John Cena hates you, Stephen Jensen. He hates you for being toxic. He hates you for being a fake fan. He hates you for cheering for him. He hates you for booing him. He hates you for representing hustle, loyalty, and respect, but just representing it because it was on a T-shirt. But really, you were just sitting on your ass and not actually going out there and hustling and being loyal and respecting. He hates you, Stephen Jensen. He's broken up with you.
Yes.
What'd you make of John Cena's promo?
I thought it was great. I liked that. Well, not that I liked this particularly, but it was kind of just different because it was the middle of the day. So, I'm sitting here working from home, watching this John Cena promo, and I'm like, this is so surreal. I thought the crowd was awesome. They were super loud. Cena was out there for a half hour, and it honestly didn't feel like that to me. It didn't drag out. That was. Because that's a moment that we've been waiting for as wrestling fans for 2 decades. We actually got a Cena heel turn. And I like how he explained why he didn't come out looking different and why he didn't have a different song and stuff. It's because he doesn't want to give it to the fans because he knows the fans want it. And it also, it totally feeds into the John Cena sucks, John Cena sucks. Now there's it's going to be the loudest it's ever been to that theme song. Even though he still could wind up changing stuff up, who knows what he winds up doing. I would like for him to not retire at the end of this year at this point, honestly. I kind of don't, on one hand, I like that he kind of has put a time limit on it and there's all these cool stories that are coming of it. But on the flip side, it's it kind of puts you in a box also a little bit. It pigeonholes you a bit from you have to kind of rush through things to get it done before the end of the year now when it comes to certain stuff. I'd be great with this playing out till next WrestleMania, for instance, if we could have that option. That'd be great if heel John Cena was you know what, forget y'all. I'm not retiring. I'm not doing anything I've ever told you guys. Screw you guys. I don't have to keep my word. But I thought the promo was great. Essentially in a nutshell, I know everyone already has seen it who's watching the show by now, but in a nutshell, the vibe of it was the message of it was essentially, I'm not a robot anymore, and I'm a human being. I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm a human being, and you guys have not been treating me like a human being for the last 20 years. And it's funny because, a lot of the time, the whole you people type promo has never it's been a cop out, and a lot of the time, you know what I mean? People don't really when a heel goes out there, has made a new heel turn and they go out there and they start just doing the you people promos. People are kind of sick of that. But for John Cena, that was that's because he is the guy. He is the hero to these kids. He's the hero to he's a hero to people around my age or close to our generation. They grew up on John Cena. We to a degree grew up on John Cena. So the kid, that one kid in the crowd they were showing who everyone's talking about is going to go on Joker or origin story now or whatever based off of that. Like, it's I feel like what they were going for, like the intended result, they got that, and the cherry on top was that the crowd that they were in front of was super hot for the whole thing. So like, yeah, I thought this went like as good as it could have. And then of course you had Cody come out and confront Cena, which I obviously love to see. I would like to see Cody, kick his ass a little bit, considering what happened the last time the two of them shared a ring. But obviously, that ass kicking is coming on 420. Or is it 420 or 421?
420.
So 419 and 420 are the 2 days.
Yeah.
So on 420, now it's going to be a great day. On 420, Cody Rhodes is going to kick John Cena's ass and retain the WWE Championship. That's so awesome. I'll never forget that.
I think you will forget it because I don't know if it's going to happen.
Oh no, it's happening.
Okay.
But how did you? I mean, I'm sure you talked about this plenty this week, but kind of like condensed, summarized. Like, how do you like? Did you like how this came across for Cena? Like, did you have any complaints about it, or what?
My complaints were they did not mention The Rock once, and
yeah.
Even though I thought the promo was great, it made a lot of sense, especially when you have all the 2 decades to play off of, with John Cena being the face of the company and the crowd reaction for 2 decades. All of that made sense. The one part that I wish they had touched on, and maybe they'll get to, is why now? Why during your farewell tour did you reach your breaking point of, okay, I'm going to be a bad guy or a human being now? Did The Rock say something? Was Cody being too big? Was that a catalyst for it? So the why he did it was great. That made a lot of sense. That whole promo, they explained. The why now during the farewell tour, they still need to kind of tie up.
And I think that, they got time to do that still. Like, Cena will cut more promos heading into WrestleMania. And those will include The Rock, I'm sure, as well, and stuff. But I agree with you, like, that they did miss those aspects of it. But I'm glad that we're getting this heel turn. I'm obviously glad as a Cody fan that like this is happening for him too. Like, I just think it's a really, really cool situation, and it's a really cool, like, it's an obvious vote of confidence in Cody as their guy. Like, because otherwise you don't turn The Rock, you don't turn John Cena, like, you don't change plans in the ways that they have unless you're confident that Cody is like either maybe not quite on the level of The Rock or John Cena, like at this point in his career, comparatively, but he's right now in the eyes of the fans, he's on their level, and he's the only way it's even possible to get to the level of someone like The Rock or John Cena is you have to be in the ring with someone like The Rock or John Cena. Like, you have to be seen and viewed like they're equals. And Cody, when he went face to face with The Rock, felt like an equal. Like, he wasn't flinching, he wasn't backing down from from John Cena. Like, it looked like Cody looked confident, and he's the WWE champion. He's standing across from arguably the best WWE superstar of all time. If you're talking strictly WWE, John Cena is absolutely in the conversation, like legitimately the best superstar in the history of the company. And Cody doesn't look out of place out there. Like, remember when they tried this with Roman Reigns years ago, him and John Cena like was calling him out for how uncomfortable he was out there? This is completely different than that. Like, Cody's there. So I'm very happy about all this.
I thought Cody came off better than Cena here. Like, I legitimately loved Cody's portion of this because he didn't come out and he didn't ask the why now. Like, why'd you throw all this away to do this now when you're about to retire, when you're going for 17? Like, Cody didn't come out and just ask questions. Instead, he just came out with fire of like, fuck is this guy? I don't want to face this whiny bitch. Where is John Cena? This is who I want to face. I thought Cody was besides not punching him in the face, which I think would have been a justifiable action after Elimination Chamber, I thought this was the best you were going to do with Cody, to have him come out here and show fire and really stand up to what Cena was saying.
Yeah, completely agree. And the fans are super into Cody. Like everywhere they go worldwide, they're all singing, word for word. They're doing his theme song. They're like, he's not getting a mixed reaction even in the ring with John Cena. Like he's getting cheered. Like there's so much to be said about that. I know I'm in here just glazing the dude because he's my favorite wrestler of all time. I understand that. I totally get it. But like, it's the truth though. Like it really is. Like most other people in that same situation are at least a split crowd where people are still like, it's the cool thing to still boo, or like, John Cena is still John Cena, so he's still going to get you. Like the crowd is 100% behind Cody. Like obviously Cena is still going to have some, like there's WWE fans who are going to cheer John Cena. There's going to be somewhat of a split crowd, but at WrestleMania, the intended result is Cena gets booed out of the building and Cody gets cheered until the roof pops off. Or it's probably outdoors. Is it an open stadium?
Allegiant? I'm pretty sure Allegiant is.
So either way, you guys know the point I'm trying to make. And I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where it's like they have to like double turn, or like the crowd's going to be like anti Cody Rhodes by the time this match happens. Like Cody's going to get cheered big time. And Cena's going to get booed, which also is not easy to accomplish because it's John Cena. Like, I know we were booing the guy because it was the cool thing to do a long time ago, but like the fact that John Cena can get this type of heat, it's working. Like what they're doing is working. So like, I'm really, really happy about all this because there's like a risk involved. We never knew how this would go. We've been waiting for something like this for so long. We're actually getting it, and it's been great. So obviously,
Allegiant's domed. By the way, I was wrong.
Okay.
Allegiant is a dome stadium.
Well, the people are like go to those two shows, go to WrestleMania. And then also, I'm guessing NXT is going to be.
NXT's
going to run?
They're running one of the like T-Mobile, I believe.
But I'm sorry, but like when are they running? Are they running like in
Saturday
afternoon? 2 days? So they're running before the 2 nights of WrestleMania. They're running.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, T-Mobile makes sense. That's where the UFC runs, or at least ran most of their shows. I don't know how often they're there anymore. They're in like
it's one of those. I'm not 100% sure it's T-Mobile. I mean, I can literally
look
it up right now of where they're actually running. It is T-Mobile, so I was correct.
Okay, there you go.
I just figured that made sense.
So yeah, I'm very and then obviously it ties into WrestleMania and everything with the other spotlight too. Did you have anything else for Cody and The Rock? Or sorry, Cody and John Cena?
No, we mentioned The Rock more than they did. That's
True. Oh, by the way, I bought WWE 2K25 the other day, and I've been playing it, and it's been a lot of fun. So, wanted to give that give it a big boom for WWE 2K25. Sorry, we can move on.
Io Sky and Bianca Belair is supposed to be the WrestleMania match, but Rhea Ripley took the contract and signed it herself. So maybe she's in the WrestleMania match. Maybe that's how she gets into it. Doesn't need to win anything. Adam Pearce said, nope, we're not standing for this. I assume we're still going to get a triple threat. But what'd you make of this contract signing segment?
I wish this would have happened to Christian at Revolution and someone would have grabbed the contract from him and signed it themselves. And like that would have been pretty cool. I don't know how this could possibly legally stand, Rhea signing someone else's contract, but
Shawn Michaels did it and it was fine.
For when did he do that? I'm blanking on when that happened.
WrestleMania 20. He super kicked Stevie Richards and signed the contract.
I'm completely blanking on this. Shawn Michaels super kicked Stevie Richards.
Yeah.
What does Stevie Richards have to do with Shawn Michaels like ever on?
Stevie Richards won the Royal Rumble.
He might have in like No Mercy. I'm so confused right now. I'm so confused.
Okay. This is the WrestleMania 20 angle. Stevie Richards, you know who Stevie Richards is.
No, of course. Of course I know Stevie Richards. I just don't know how I know he's like, he tried to be a lot like Shawn Michaels, but I don't remember them ever interacting like on the actual, they never had a storyline with one another. Sorry, go ahead. I watch Stevie Richards on YouTube sometimes. Go ahead.
Folks. Stevie Richards is a placeholder name for somebody else.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Okay, yeah. Now I remember everything that dude. Why do they use him because he replaced the Big Show in the video game? Also, like, why is Stevie Richards the replacement name for that?
Because he was in the video game. He was the replacement in the video game. That's the whole bit.
Oh my god. Well, anyways, guys.
But this is what happened.
Yeah.
This is what
so
happened
you're right.
at WrestleMania 20.
Yeah,
Super
you're right.
Stevie Richards and signed the contract.
Yeah, no, I remember that now.
Okay.
Yeah. The super kick was a little faster than the Steven kick. I will say though, I mean, I've obviously I like that they're doing the triple threat match because I like all three of those women a lot who are going to be wrestling one another. I think it would have been a mistake to not have Rhea involved in the title match at WrestleMania. She's, in my opinion, she's the most over woman in the entire company. So it only makes sense for her to be featured as either the champion or challenging for the title. I would have been totally, I said it before, I'd be totally fine with Bianca versus Rhea one-on-one, but I like Io a lot, so I'm happy for Io. So I like that they're doing this. It was unexpected. I don't think any of us expected Io to actually win the title a few weeks ago to set this up, but it all makes sense because, Bianca was involved in that too, from the outside, and, so they've at least made the story make sense, and it's been unpredictable. And I like that Triple H as the booker is you wouldn't expect these kind of moves from Vince, to make big changes. We did see it sometimes, obviously, Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan being
added Charlotte Flair into a match that didn't need Charlotte Flair added to it.
The Ronda, Ronda and Becky. Yeah, no, I agree. So I guess I can't make that comparison, but I will say this: it feels like a good move though. In you know what I mean? That's the difference. Is people want to see a triple threat between the three women we're talking about now. Back then, it didn't make sense to add Charlotte. So I can't say it's a move that Vince wouldn't have made, but this was the right move, and that was it. I will say that. And coming out of it, also, I really don't know who's going to win. I really don't, because I didn't expect Io to be the champion going into this to begin with, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Bianca makes sense because she has built-in storylines with Naomi and Jade waiting right there, and Rhea makes sense because, I mentioned, she's the most over woman in my opinion in the entire company. So you can make a case for all three of them.
The problem I have with Rhea being added right now is she just comes off, to steal a Cody Rhodes term, a whiny bitch. She lost to Io. She lost because she got distracted because Bianca was cheering for Io, and Io caught her and beat her clean. He beat her by countering the Avalanche Riptide with a Hurricane Rana and then hitting the moonsault. Why is Rhea upset about this? Why does she just get to come in and sign the contract?
Right. No, you're right. It doesn't. I mean, Ryan Adams in the chat, Skull Vikings, he mentions when they added Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, to the Edge versus Roman match also. But this Yeah, it in like a non-wrestling world that's like actually realistic, it wouldn't make any sense at all for Rhea Ripley to just be able to just say I'm in the match or sign a contract that isn't hers. So yeah. But I think the company, for whatever reason, they decided they needed EO in the match. For whatever reason, they were like, we wanted
EO
triple
rules.
threat.
Like,
no, I'm not saying. I agree. Like, dude, EO has some of the coolest music in the whole company. One of the coolest entrances overall. Like, awesome look. Her nails the moonsault every time. Like, I love EO. I'm just saying, like, for whatever reason, they decided to go with the triple threat route instead of a one-on-one. And now they're trying to but I don't know how long that was the plan. I guess that's what I'm getting at is like they had the match set up for a while, to be fair, that they were going to wrestle each other the night after Elimination Chamber. So like that was set up for a minute. So maybe it was planned for a minute, but based on the way that we're seeing this play out, it feels like it was a little more last minute because they're trying to like figure out a way to make it make sense. And it still doesn't really make sense. But in wrestling world, it does make sense. Like in wrestling world, we have, a goofy briefcase someone carries around half the year, and you can get a title shot when their opponent can't stand. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say you can't just sign a contract with someone else? Like you said, we saw it happen when Shawn Michaels did it to Big Stevie Cool. So,
yeah, and then Shawn faced Stevie Richards and beat him. And so that's how Michaels ended up in the match overall. I don't think you're going to see Bianca and Rhea beating Bianca. I think that would be a huge mistake.
I feel bad even lumping Stevie Richards' good name into this.
It's a bit.
I know, it's funny. It's funny. It is funny. It is funny. He has some good YouTube channels, some good YouTube content, by the way. I don't always agree with the stuff that he says, but he
I'll take your word for it.
Highly produced. Like well produced.
Okay. I haven't watched any of it, so.
Dude, I was a big Steve Richards guy. Like,
no, I like Stevie Richards when he wrestled. Like, I got no issue with Stevie Richards. Again, I've not watched any of his YouTube content. I'd maybe watched some of his early videos because like he talked about like his career and like maybe breaking down moves. But now he's just like reviewing Raw and AEW, and I don't care about that stuff.
He still does the other stuff that like, breaking down stuff and opponents and whatnot. But I mean, I get, dude, there's so much wrestling and other content out there that like, trust me, I don't see all of his stuff. I just, I see some of it. We got some super chats. Thank you guys very much for sending super chats. Throw one of these up on the screen. CW Spory, always here in the chat. Always good to see you, buddy. Says, with Cena keeping the same appearance, you think they'll do a cop-out ending where he turns face after the match? It's good to see you two again. Well, it's good to see you as well.
Good to see CW.
Yes. I don't think the heel turn's going to last long. I will say that. They almost even teased it on Monday. Like Cody being like, I want to face the real John Cena, not this guy. Like he might turn babyface by WrestleMania. It's possible. He might totally turn back on The Rock. I mean,
they blow that up by then. I don't think we're going to see it at the end of the match or the end of WrestleMania. I do think by the end of the year, you're going to see a John Cena face turn. And I think the way you would do that is you get another person in this group with The Rock, who may or may not exist at this point, and Cena, who is more of a full-time person, and they basically kick Cena out and they become the new kind of top heel. And maybe that's John Cena's last match against that heel. And you put over that heel in his last match.
Remember the other week when I said that other guy could be Logan Paul and it would make sense? And he came out like the next week. I didn't even mention this. He came out like the next week and literally cut a promo like, I want to be in with these guys. So just saying.
Logan just does stuff.
Yeah, but he also fits the bill better than anyone else about what we're talking about.
I don't know if Logan's a heel or a babyface at this point.
You got to be kidding me. Really?
I don't know. He was beating up Andrew Schultz the other week. That was a total babyface move.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like Andrew Schultz wants to wrestle. They're gonna be so like there's that fine balance of like I know they want celebrities to get involved. I know that you get WWE has always had celebrities involved like throughout its history. But I mean, there's guys like Logan Paul who are like the epitome of like it working. Like him, like he's checks every box and like your WWE superstar, plus he has the fame and the social media presence and whatnot, and the youth. Like he's gonna just keep getting better and better. He's the best we've seen do something like this from like us. Bad Bunny, really, really, really good as well. Like there's some others that are good examples, but then you have like K-Fed. Remember, like you got guys like that, like and that's more where I'm like. Someone like I Show Speed, I want to see him give it a shot because the dude can literally jump over vehicles and do moonsaults and stuff. So like, and he's young and like the kids love him and like he's going to get you a ton of views. Like, so I think someone like I Show Speed that I'm interested to see. Andrew Schultz, I can't imagine him being able to do a whole lot that people will be interested in. Plus he's kind of polarizing to begin with. Like he's got a lot of people that don't like him anyways. So, yeah. But I did think that was not great that they like teased something between Andrew Schultz and Logan Paul because I feel like Logan should be focused on like, you could actually be the WWE champion at some point, like for real.
Ryan says, if Cena beats Cody at Mania, does he take a little sabbatical? Because I feel like the Backlash match, if Cena is champ, would be against Orton. That's possible. I don't know if he needs to really take a sabbatical. I mean, he can still show up on TV and do some TV dates. I don't know if he's going to wrestle on those dates, but I don't see CW saying anything other than Cena and Orton again. There's a whole generation of fans that have not seen John Cena against Randy Orton, which is amazing to think about because it's all we watched for about 5 years.
Yeah. But we never saw it where Cena was the heel and Orton was the babyface.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before. He has all these rematches that he can do where the roles are reversed. So, and I think that can make for really interesting promos and build up also. Like CM Punk has already started doing that. CM Punk being like, I told y'all this is who John Cena was the entire time, someone like Randy Orton could do it too. Cena, I was supposed to be you. And you took that from me, you know what I mean? And now look what you are, there's a lot of stuff you can do with, but it is funny. It's kind of ironic that like, I want to see these matches that had you asked me 10 years ago, I'd been like, I never want to see this again. But like now I want to see it because it's, reversed.
That's the only match we ever watched from like 2010 to 2015. I don't know if they ever booked another. It may have gone back even further than that, but yeah, those are the only matches that existed during that time. Oh, I'm looking it up. It was even further than that. They started like really kind of feuding against each other. 2007. 2007 is when they started feuding, and then their last kind of set of matches was. We'll say 2014 because 2015 they're just kind of doing tag stuff. They didn't really have any like a prolonged singles run there. But yeah, 7-year period from 2007 to 2014. I swear they headlined every single pay-per-view.
Yeah, they would have like a combination of like the two of them and Batista, like just like interchanging. Like I was a sophomore in college then. I mean, that's how long ago that was. And we were probably going to see that happen again.
Again, there's a whole generation of fans that have not seen this. Like there's 10-year-olds who did not know about John Cena and Randy Orton.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see. I've told you about my my friend Mike Hughes, who comes over a lot for like the AEW shows, and he's got that nephew who like recently got into WWE within like the last year, but like won't watch any. Like he like the WWE got him. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like they got him. Like he became like a humongous fan, kind of out of nowhere, and is incredibly loyal. He's tribalistic. Like he has no interest. Like he'll talk about like I miss Dean Ambrose. I really want to see Dean Ambrose. And I'm like, he's in a like you can watch it. I mean, maybe you couldn't watch this week. I don't know, depending on your feelings about impaling somebody. But I'm like, he wrestles like every week. He's the champion of the other company. Like you can see Dean Ambrose whenever. It's like, no, I don't care about that. It's like, and the reason I bring that up is because like there's a whole generation of fans that like have not like they haven't experienced any of this stuff, but like I don't know. I just think it's really interesting. We're living in an interesting time as wrestling fans, and like that it's hard to believe that enough time has passed between the last time Orton and Cena wrestled each other to now that like you could have easily watched wrestling for like literally the last decade and never seen that.
You can watch John Moxley on Wednesdays get a spike put through his back.
Yeah, that was almost my spotlight this week, but I figured you guys probably talked about it enough this morning, I would guess. But
we talked about it a fair amount. But if you want to mention it, there's no point in jumping into AEW when Cabana Man Dan is scheduled to join us about 5 minutes. So if you want to talk about John Moxley getting nearly impaled.
There was another super chat I'll throw up here actually that we can do until then. We got Ryan Adams once again. Thank you very much, Ryan. Skull Vikings. Get a little more comfortable here. It says I feel like Io could retain due to Bianca and Rhea so focused on each other. Io sneaks one out, but then they want to keep Bianca's Mania streak, even though she did lose the Mania 34 Battle Royal. Yeah, I don't know. Because I'm really torn on like who I think is gonna actually win the match. Because I don't really have like a favorite in the match, honestly. I like all three of them. And I think all three of them have a case to win. So I could see a scenario where Bianca and Rhea essentially like cost each other. But do they still do like the women's Andre thing, like Battle Royal?
I think they did it on SmackDown. I don't even know if they did it at all last year. I can't remember if they did it honestly. Yeah, they called it the Mae Young. If they do it on SmackDown. Like I don't think they do it. They don't even do the Andre on WrestleMania.
No, for some reason I just thought about that too, like because because Ryan mentioned the Mania 34 Battle Royal, but can you count that? I think you got to count that. They won't, but they should, shouldn't they? I mean, you got to count like the Undertaker's tag team handicap match not with Nathan Jones against like A-Train and Big Show and stuff.
Difference between like that was still a match that they won.
Yeah.
Battle Royal is different. I don't think they count the Battle Royal. Like no one's mentioned the Battle Royal until just recently.
Till Ryan just did. Yeah.
I saw people mentioning it online a little bit.
Oh, okay.
That's why I knew about it as well. But yeah, no one's really mentioned that when they talk about Bianca's undefeated streak. Bianca talks about her undefeated streak on, in interviews, and the Battle Royal never comes up. Now, if you're about to interview Bianca Belair, I imagine one of our pals is going to interview Bianca soon. She does a ton of media. Ask her about it. Ask her and see if this counts or not.
Yeah, because otherwise, how many WrestleManias is it? It's probably how long has she been up from NXT?
She's won at 36. She headlined with 36 with COVID. Sorry, that's when she kind of like debuted. So 37, she headlined with Mercedes. 38, 39, and 40. So those are the 4 she's been in.
Gotcha. Oh, wait, so WrestleMania 34, she wasn't even on the main roster yet?
No, she was NXT.
I wouldn't even count that then. Even then, like, yeah, I wouldn't even mention it. That's like, well, I shouldn't even make that comparison. I almost made the comparison of, remember like when Hideo Itami was just like in the Andre, like he like had like all that buzz from Noah and Ring of Honor and everything, and came in, changed his name. Everyone was like, oh man, like maybe he'll be like a real star on their hands. Like Hulk Hogan went help do the signing or whatever. There was like, it was like Japanese media press announcements, and then he just like walked out with like the crowd of people. Like it wasn't even like an individual entrance. It was just like, here's the people in the Andre this year, and like Hideo Itami was just in it. I was like, oh, so they don't care about him. Yeah, I just remember thinking that, just being like, damn, I thought they were gonna do something with him. That's it.
Yeah, I don't think they're counting Bianca's battle royal as far as like some type of loss for her WrestleMania streak.
Listen, to be honest, I don't even want to hear about anyone's WrestleMania streak because that was so special to Undertaker. But on top of it, like, I don't want to hear about it until you're like, get to like 10-0. Yeah, exactly. Because even the Undertaker, it wasn't a thing until like WrestleMania 17 against Flair or something. Like, it was around then when people started WrestleMania 17 was against Triple H, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing against Triple H at all.
Right. Because he wrestled him 3 times. The first time at 17. Who did he wrestle? Was it Flair and him at 18?
Yeah, I think it was Flair and him at 18.
But I remember that being a part of the Flair story for whatever reason. And that's when I remember them bringing it up.
Yeah. I was saying, like, even 20 against Kane, I don't even feel like it was that big of a deal.
Yeah, that story was more about him returning as the dead man.
Yeah.
Because he got buried by Kane before that. Yeah. Now I'm just thinking about all these. But anyway, yeah, the point we're making is because they kind of did that with like, I want to say like Edge or someone with 6-0 or something.
It definitely, it feels like it really picked up at 21. That's when he faced Orton, and that's when Orton was doing Legend Killer, and they definitely made it a point of, oh yeah, the streak is a thing for this. So it feels like 21, and he was 12-0 going into that one. So, but it feels like 21 is when it started to become like a yearly thing that, oh, the Undertaker has an undefeated streak. And then obviously by the end of it, it definitely became a thing. But again, 12-0 is when it really became a talking point in my mind.
I know we were both there that night. What was your immediate reaction when Brock Lesnar beat the Undertaker?
Stunned. The guy, I just remember, I thought Taker was going to kick out. I remember I did a podcast. I've been doing podcasts for a very long time. It's sad. I remember I did a podcast previewing the show, and I was like, because like, I'm not the biggest Undertaker fan. I know you're a fake Undertaker fan after he helped Cody. I'm not the biggest Undertaker.
I'm the greatest in the history of the business, but sorry, go ahead.
I'm not the biggest Undertaker guy. I've never been the biggest Undertaker guy. And so when I looked at this match on paper, I was like, all right, it's going to be another Undertaker WrestleMania match in that. And so this is what I said in the preview. Like, I very much recall what I said in the preview. I was like, it's going to be another Undertaker WrestleMania match. They're going to do a bunch of finishers. There's going to be a bunch of kickouts. Brock Lesnar's going to make a shocked face when he hits the F5 and Undertaker kicks out. And he's going to hit more F5s. The Undertaker's going to continue to kick out. And then the Undertaker wins. It's every Undertaker WrestleMania match for the past however many years. I was like, so I don't have a whole lot of intrigue with this match because I know how it's going to go. And boy, did I look stupid when the match actually played out. So I think that's why I was so shocked, is like, they counted 3. I remember there was like the controversy that, did the referee screw up?
Yeah. Oh, that was my immediate thought. But then they put the graphic up so fast that it was like, they had that 21-1 ready, you know?
Yeah. But there was definitely a big controversy of like, oh, the referee like messed up. Like shouldn't have counted. And yeah, they thought that like they thought he counted like him going down as 1, and then he went 2, 3. And so they were like, wait, no, that's not 3. That's only 2, because you don't count when you go down. Like you get down and then go 1, 2, 3. So yeah, there was a big, I remember like being online right afterwards and people like, they screwed up the count. Like Undertaker wasn't supposed to lose. Like, yeah, that was a big thing.
It absolutely was. I remember people thinking the ref had screwed up. I remember all the reports about the Undertaker was knocked out. And
that would turn out to be true.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, we've come to find out since then that it was planned, though, that he was supposed to lose. I think that was, I remember seeing him lose, thinking it was a mistake. Because once again, like you said, it was almost like it was when it got to that point with Undertaker, it was like over before it started. Like it would seem like an inevitable outcome for these matches, especially because like the year before with CM Punk and stuff, and we had seen like Randy Orton not get it done and Edge not get it done. Like all these people that like it would have made sense never got it done. And for them to have, I mean, I get that at the time it made Brock, put him on a different level and it made him like even more unstoppable, but he really didn't need it. Like he was already a humongous pay-per-view draw coming out of his UFC run. He had already been the WWE champion. Like he didn't need the rub. He really didn't. And especially now, with him not even being able to be like in the video games and stuff like or on the show, like especially in hindsight, it really feels like they really messed up by him being the guy to do that. Like just 1 year later, they did Undertaker and Bray Wyatt, and that would have made way more sense if Undertaker was still undefeated. Undertaker still wound up losing to him, Undertaker still wound up beating Bray Wyatt rather, but like it would have been way more interesting, and I would have at that time way more preferred Bray to do that, if anyone was going to, or even the next year, because then you had. Was it the next year? They had Roman. He had Shane McMahon in there somewhere. But like Roman, that would have been even worse. Imagine, because we were there. Were you there for the Roman? And
no.
So I was there for Roman Undertaker WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, and I remember what the crowd was like on Raw the next night. The "F you Roman" chants to start the show off. It would have been 10 times worse than that if he was the one to actually break the streak. You know what I mean? Anyway, let me reach out to Dan real quick and see where he's at. But anyway, I remember when the Undertaker when the Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar, I was like all confused, and I like walked into like kind of like the concession area. And I remember just like making eye contact with just strangers, and we're all just like shrugging, like looking at each other, like, what the hell just happened? And there was like a women's tag match or something that happened in between that match and the main event. And I don't remember that match happening at all.
It was the women's battle royal, like the little battle royal thing, right?
I couldn't tell you anything about it. I couldn't tell you who was in it. Like I was so stunned from seeing the Undertaker lose that I don't recall. Like I knew a match happened, but I can't recall anything about it other than it was a women's match. I can't remember anything else. And then I remember them trying to like, by the end of the night, they did bring us back with Danielson winning the championship to end the night. But like,
yeah, it was the women's. It wasn't a tag match. It was like a battle. It wasn't a battle royal. It was just a scramble. That's the word I'm looking for. It was like a women's scramble match, and AJ Lee retained the title.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I just messaged Dan, so we'll see if he's coming on soon.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the Moxley spike?
Yeah. Yeah. You want no bumper, no bumper? Wait to do the bumper.
We can go bumper. Hold on.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
The Moxley spike.
So John Moxley got suplexed onto a spiked 2x4 last night. And when he stood up, the spiked 2x4 was still in his back. And Yuta and the referee had to yank at it, and you could see the skin peeling, and very gnarly stuff from John Moxley. What was your reaction when you saw this?
So, like, you have to keep in mind, everyone, that I cover deathmatch wrestling on a weekly basis for the Weekender. So, like, I'm really used to seeing people getting mutilated. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I mean, I see some stuff that, you know, I could never unsee, you know, in that deathmatch world. I don't know if I've ever seen someone do what Moxley did last night. Like, I've seen things that I think are, like, objectively, like, worse in the grand scheme of things, but nothing that I've never seen somebody just take a suplex onto spikes like that weren't a little more controlled. Like, I've seen people do I guess you call it spots on almost like those beta nails. I've seen people do like moves and tricks on stuff like that, but there's more of a trick to that. I'm obviously no expert, but you know, the way that they're laid out on the ground or on the board or whatever you're using, it's all even. And like, if you land flat, you know, it's a stunt that's like pretty safe. Moxley just like impaled himself straight up. Like, he just took actual spikes into the back, like deep. Yeah, it was disgusting. Like, I could totally understand why people were freaked out or didn't like seeing that. I bet John Moxley got off on it big time though. Like, I bet John Moxley got backstage with Renee and he was like, that was good for me. What do you think? And Renee's just crying backstage. Renee's just crying. Why are you doing this to yourself? We have a family. We have a child that, and Moxley's just like, Moxley's smoking a cigarette next to her. Oh yeah, that's what I live for. You know, I have no doubt in my mind, John Moxley loved every second of that. The reaction that he got from that, the fact that it got stuck, the fact that it tore skin, was the icing on top. That was the bonus for him. I also think that if you've never seen AEW before and you tried it for the first time last night, you might never watch again, depending on what you were expecting. Or you might watch it from now on. You might become a huge fan because you're like, I've never seen that happen before on pro wrestling until now. It seems insanely. Oh, sorry, I just got a message from Dan. Okay, I think he's coming on soon.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was. What did you think? It was crazy.
I thought that should have beat him. I know there wasn't a pinfall right afterwards. That's the thing, is like there wasn't a pinfall. Like, Yuta took out Cope, and so then there was more interference after that. So I get that it didn't lead directly to the finish. So sure, like, that's not going to be the finish. So I'm not mad about. I saw people like, oh, and then he kicked out at 2. Well, no, because there was no pinfall afterwards. I do think, like, if you're going to do something like that, it maybe should be the finish. But, you know, they booked it well to basically get around why it wasn't the finish. Cope didn't have the opportunity to pin him. I thought it was absolutely gnarly. Like, the spike just hanging off of his back as he stands up, and then they're trying to pull at it, and they can't. Like, they couldn't get it out. I'm glad he's okay. I hope he's okay, because that could have been really bad. Like, you don't know if that thing hits an artery. I don't know if it goes in the back, but like,
I feel the same way. I have the same concerns. I mean, it's
a bone. Like, you don't know what that thing.
It's a terrible idea. Like, it's a completely unnecessary, terrible stunt to do. Like, you should. If you're a pro wrestler, I never give pro wrestlers advice because it's not my place to do that. But I would highly recommend, if you're a pro wrestler, never doing that. Like, don't ever do what you just saw. Never, ever don't. That's an extreme. Do not try this at home. Do not try this at school. Do not try this at home. Yeah. That is one of the worst ideas I've ever seen in my life. But that's exactly what John Moxley was going for when they did that. In the actual match, was way better than their match at Revolution. So, like, I got to give it to them too on that.
Expected.
Yeah.
expected. I mean, it was a street fight. This is what both men are very good at. And the interference here made a lot more sense and was a lot more tolerable because it was a street fight. Yeah, but it was expected to be better because, I mean, I think I said it on this show. I know I said it on other shows. Like, Cope's best matches are these kind of matches. For the most part, Moxley, his top matches are these type of matches. I think Moxley has a little bit more range as a singles wrestler in one-on-one matches, but that's usually against other really high-level singles guy. I don't think Cope is a great one-on-one wrestler, especially the main event style that he wants to do. He had very fun TV sprints with the TNT Championship, but like this main event style that he likes to do, they typically don't go that well. So Cope's best stuff is smoke and mirror stuff. He's great at it. And so when this thing was announced as a street fight, it's like, yeah, this is probably going to be really good because this is where Cope does his best work and this is where Moxley can thrive as well.
Yeah. And hopefully this is the end of like his title shots. Like,
I imagine.
Yeah.
He's got to figure out why Dax left him in the ring after the match.
Yeah. We didn't mention that. That's interesting. See what happens there between FTR and him, and if Dax maybe gets a singles run, something. And then also obviously they're setting up Moxley and Swerve that's coming up. So they got plenty going on. Well, we can keep talking AEW until Dan pops up.
Okay. Hangman Page said he is going to enter the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. He's the second announced entry, their declared entry, I should say, after Will Ospreay. The winner gets a title shot at All In. That's a thing once again this year. We don't have dates for the Owen. I imagine it'll start after Double or Nothing. I have a feeling they will be announcing Canada dates for after Double or Nothing. And we got two pretty big names there with Will Ospreay and Hangman Page.
Yeah, it's shaping up good. Should be it should be a prestigious tournament every year. This isn't a knock on the actual Owen tournament, but like AEW in general, like there's just so many tournaments that like, you know, there's reasons behind the tournaments at least. Like there's like a means to an end with all of these. Like you win something, you either win a title or a title shot, or you know, they make them a big deal, but at the same time, like, you know, it's like having too many title belts. You know, you don't want to devalue it when you're doing too much of it. But what they're setting up so far with the Owen, I think it's already looking really good. And I think both Ospreay and Hangman either of them could be the winner. I mean, we'll see who else is going to be involved, but two big names right there. Speaking of a big name, we do have a guest joining us. Let me get my stuff ready here. So we've been talking a lot about New South Pro Wrestling lately. They have the Haas tournament the other weekend. It's finally aired on independentwrestling.tv. And we are having a special guest join us live right here, right now. He is one half of the New South Tag Team Champions, along with Dump Sanders, the Dumpster Divers. He just competed in his last Haas tournament ever. He is CMD Cabana Man Dan. Dan, thanks for joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Just getting my island ready for you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Is my satellite phone communicating properly?
Yes, you look good and you sound good, Dan. It's great to see you, man.
Good to see you, Dan. Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thank you. You said big name, and I was like, I don't see anybody else here. What are you talking? Oh, my name is long, but it's not big. So that's the difference.
No, you've been around a long time, Dan. Everyone out there is saying all these nice things about you. We've been putting up articles the last few weeks. You getting that praise. What's it feel like just right off the bat, seeing your peers and people you've had a hand in training and just people you've known in wrestling kind of giving you your flowers lately?
It sounds like I owe them a lot of money. And no, it really feels good. I mean, because, you know, I know you've had Big Dave on most recently. You know, that's a guy that started as, you know, security and ushering people to their seats, all the ticket holders from going to the training. And it takes a village. You know, it's not just me. It's guys like Donnie Primetime, Kenzie Page, Dump Sanders, Brandon Williams, and just, I mean, New South's been a community to get guys like Big Dave Reddy, Tyler Franks, Hunter Drake, and the next classes, up to speed as much as we can.
What was it like, competing in your last Haas tournament? Like, why was this your last Haas tournament? And like, I don't know if I missed an announcement, but like, do you have like a timeline on like your career? Or was it this more of like a Haas thing? Kind of what's the mindset of this being your last Haas tournament? Because you've been so involved and you've won the tournament in the past.
Well, we kind of had like a running joke is after you compete in 2 Haas tournaments, you're like done for a while. And I competed in my second Haas tournament and won it in 2019. And then as years went by, I was like, well, if I get put in the Haas again, I want it to be my last one, just because the level of talent is insane. And I sell myself short. We're all our own worst critics. And there's times where I was like, man, I can't hang with these people anymore. Put me in tag matches, put me in gimmick matches. But, but when it comes down to it, when the red light's on, I feel like, especially last weekend, I feel as good as I ever had felt in a ring, physically and mentally, especially. 5 years since I won the tournament, I'm 5 years smarter in wrestling. I've crossed over 2 decades now and just really studied, strategy and timing and just how to differentiate our matches from any other one. And that's what I really liked about the Haas tournament. The first round was against, Cheeseburger. It started off as a nice callback to like early Cabana Man Dan. It was real lighthearted, very quirky technical stuff. We just had a really hard-hitting match before us, so it was a nice palate cleanser until Cheeseburger decided to punch me in the face. And then the match with Big Dave was a callback to the Castaway era, where from like late 2020 to now, where it was more of a serious fighting spirit, gritty Dan, and that's what Dave got from me. So, I went a little bit harder on him. So,
sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh, well, we talked to Dave about the pile driver. So I was going to bring up the pile driver from your perspective on things and hitting it on him as big as he is.
Well, having a low center of gravity like I do, I've got really good core strength. It doesn't really look like it, but I'm fairly strong for someone that's 5'3", and Dave's weight spread evenly. So it was easier to kind of pick that up and kind of balance it. And all I had to do is sit down, drop him on his head. But the symbolism of the pile driver to me that's not a move I do ever. It's been several years since I've executed it. And the last time I used it was when I first come back from neck injury and someone used it on me. So it has to be pretty serious. And as the match progresses, I never kicked out at 2. Everything was a 1 count until the lariat, and that was the actual 3 count. But as the match progressed, the Cabana Man Dan Castaway mindset is starting to get, I don't want to say desperate, but this is the final Haas. He's letting it all come out, doing moves that I've never done before, like backflipping out of a lariat for a pile driver, the little rolling pretzel after that, and like choking and biting. It was like devolving, because I didn't want to lose, because this was my final Haas, and Dave has more Haas's in the future. Is the mindset I was I thought. This is my thought process while I'm in the ring.
I thought it came across great throughout the whole weekend for the whole tournament. Like the first match, as you kind of mentioned, kind of differences. Like the end of the Cheeseburger match, hit him with the flip flop chop, and then hit him with the shipwrecked. And then after the match, he doesn't give you the respect. Like it's a dream match that we never seen. We want to see CMD versus Cheeseburger, and I expected him to shake your hand afterwards. What was it like, first of all, getting in the ring with him? Because I know it was a dream match for the fans. I would also imagine a dream match for yourself heading into it as well. And then what was it like that, I guess the feeling that he didn't show the respect afterwards, like I think I expected to see.
I really expected it too, because Cheeseburger, he's got that level of respect where he's always a lighthearted, nice guy, always works hard, keeps his head down, and he's the head trainer of the Worldwide Dojo. So he's got that, you expect him to have that teacher patience and that mindset where it's kind of like, he lost, but at the end of the day, I said, hey, I forgive you for punching me. If you forgive me for hitting you with a flip flop, let's just bygones be bygones. Let's shake it off. And, he shrugged me off, shoulder checked me on my hurt shoulder and left. And then, he got dealt with a little bit the next day with Nasty Leroy. But he was victorious on the next day. But it meant a lot to me because even though he's like a 2-time finalist, and we were in the same finals together, we have never touched because I was taken out early in that match by Baron Black with 2 power bombs and a power bomb through the table. So by the time I got back up, Cheeseburger was already eliminated. So we've never touched, and that's kind of like a cool a matchup because we both have like some the roots in like the quirky lucha libre technical style, and even just being in the ring with him, I was learning on the fly with what he was doing. So that was cool.
And then on the kind of on the flip side, like your next round match that you had against Big Dave that we have talked about a little bit already, the finish of that one, like you're going for the shipwreck. He like reverses it, goes for like an Oklahoma slam, a couple, like you all have like a series of reversals. Eventually he kind of like flips you backwards out of your finish and hits you with that Spirit of 99. But on the flip side, he shows you the respect after the match. Like y'all shake hands, you endorse him. I know you're a mentor to Big Dave. I guess if you can speak just a little bit more to like the match itself, and then also like seeing him go on to actually win the tournament.
Oh, that's just like, his story is just beginning in the whole world of professional wrestling. My story's on the final chapters, but his is just in the opening chapters. And it's cool how they're like passing like trains in the night. And with the way that all went, I was going to give him everything I had. And if he survives me, he better win the whole damn thing. So, that's what I told him. If you beat me, you better win it all. Because I'm just not going to lose for no reason. So.
Yeah. And then I have one more follow-up on the tournament or that night itself. So Big Dave wins the tournament. And then, so this was so wild to the way this played out live. So I'm watching the SCI Rumble on IWTV the same night that this show is happening in real time. And I see Dylan Hales and Tim Bosby on SCI. And then I get, I'll out him. My mole from New South, Carmen, shoots me some results of kind of what's going on. And I'm sitting here going, wait, how was Dylan Hales at Haas? He was at SCI. And then I see how this all plays out. I watched last night on IWTV, and I just want your thoughts on like Dylan and Tim like invading New South, and also kind of the possibilities there of like, as a fan, it's cool to see the crossover of like New South SCI, because that of course bleeds into like TWE and Action. Tim Bosby's Action champion. As an IWTV fan, especially the Southeast, it's very intriguing as a fan to see this play out. But what are your thoughts on kind of seeing Dylan in both places and like kind of this happening?
Well, all I know is if Dylan and Tim Bosby are showing up in New South, if they're confronting Big Dave and they're causing problems, that means that New South, we're doing the right things. We're doing enough shaking of the cage to where we're drawing in people trying to take us down. And I don't even know if that's their motive. I don't know if they're trying to take a New South down or if they're just trying to stick it to Big Dave. I mean, there's always, I know it's shocking to hear this, but I think there is a level of pettiness in independent wrestling. I don't know if you've ever heard of pettiness in wrestling, but there's always like this competitive, like jeering back and forth. I mean, it's there's some in Alabama, of course, but when it comes to like the IWTV branded community, Action and New South are always is trying to keep up. Is trying to keep up with the Robertsons, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's like, well, they do something. Well, what can we do? Or we do something. Well, maybe what can we do with that they're doing? So I think we're doing the right things. I think steel sharpens steel, and this is just the first shot. So I hope people have eyes on the back of their head at their upcoming events. That's all I can say. I just know it. It shocked us just as much as the people in the crowd. Like there were people that came to New South that were normally from the Action and SCI and TWE contingent, but it's Haas weekend, so they came down. So the people that already knew Dylan Helms when he was coming out stood up or like, what is happening? But that slimy star maker, Dylan Hales, just knows exactly what to say to get the people of Gadsden, Alabama riled up. Because we have several towns that we run in with New South, and the one that's the most old school wrestling town is Gadsden, Alabama. And he knew exactly what to say. You run the city down, you run New South down, you run Big Dave down. I'm surprised they didn't get stabbed. It's that kind of old school crowd at Gadsden. So, they dropped Lee on his head. They tried to pick him up. I was the first one busting through the scene because, locker room leader, I was like, let's go. And I chased Tim Bosby and Dylan Hells literally to their car, and they sped away. Like I missed Big Dave getting picked up on Alec Price's shoulder because I was chasing these scoundrels out of the parking lot, like shouting, like nobody knew what was happening. There was like fans standing outside that was like, what is happening? So it was very chaotic. And Autumn, our camera woman, really captured how chaotic it truly was. And it was wild.
All right, so you got to go to war here with Action. Who
Maybe.
are the four New South people on your side?
I mean, we could have 10 New South people on my side. Everybody wanted a piece. But I mean, definitely number one with the bullet's got to be Big Dave. That's who they're targeting. This is his shot. I mean, I was the second through the curtain. So, Big Dave means a lot to me as a human being. So you come and try to take his thunder, that offends me. And as being half of the New South Tag Team Champions, you can't have New South without Dump Sanders. So that's your three. And whoever our fourth one is, it could be negatively if he puts in for some PTO. I know he's not active right now. It could be. I would love to have someone like Mad Dog Conley in our corner. So that'd be a nice guard dog for sure. But could be like a Donnie Primetime, could be Chris Crunk. I mean, volunteers are not scarce right now to get a little bit of sweet revenge, baby.
You got to have people on your side that you can also trust, though. I mean, wrestlers, you mentioned pettiness. There's also shadiness with a lot of wrestlers. A lot of backstabbing.
No way.
Going
are you
on.
kidding me?
A lot of backstabbing going on in the world of wrestling. So you got to have people on your side that you can trust, too.
Well, I never.
You might be able to get I don't know her name. There's that woman who she's very loud at your shows. I love it. She's very into the show. Cindy. Okay. Well, hey, shout out to Cindy. She was ready to fight.
Oh yeah, she was the third commentator of Haas because you could hear her, and she's embarrassed about it now. But I was like, no, we love it. It gives us so much energy. If there's nobody cheering in the crowd, you better be damn sure Cindy's cheering for you or booing you. She hates Richard Holiday, by the way.
Easy got 8. I mean, geez. I wanted to ask, this is kind of random, but just because we had talked about Dylan Hales a little bit, it just reminds me of, the first time I got to see you wrestle live was in Nashville years ago in Southern Underground Pro in the Basement East. We've talked about the bell shot and stuff before on the show, the infamous and but like, what's your favorite moment from Sup Graps? Like, I don't know if it'll ever come back, but like, I have a very fond memories of that promotion. What's maybe your favorite moment in the history of Sup?
Oh gosh. I mean, it has not the bell shot, but I mean, I don't know if that's like a moment, but that whole match is just still legendary and it still gets talked about, at least the bell shot. But I'm if I'm trying to like pick something else out of that, like, I really don't know. I mean, it's just, I think when I got my first singles win was also a really big deal. And I think it was against Zach Thomas. I had been doing, no, you know what? I'll tell you what, we're going to scratch that. That was a great moment. That was a great match. But I think a great moment was like, they didn't do a lot of tag matches despite, Kevin Koo and Dom Guarini being a big part of it. They never really tagged much in the beginning. But I think the first like tag match at the Basement East was in fact They Might Be Giants with Marco Stunt and myself versus Dan the Dad as Danny Adams and
Was it KLD?
Mike. No, it was Mike Outlaw.
Oh, okay, Mike Outlaw, the other no new friend. Yeah.
Yeah, No New Friends. That was the first tag match, and it's like this crowd's never seen a hot tag before. Holy shit! I just remember Marco getting beat up, and when he finally made that tag, it's like the roof blew off, and I had everybody on my side for that comeback. It was that was a special moment that I remembered that was like the number one moment until the tag match, because that was just insane. It's like the first time a hot tag's ever happened in the history of wrestling, and that happened right then. It was amazing.
Yes, I was in the crowd. It was awesome. I love those shows. You were also, if I remember correctly, you were part of the SUP. It was like was it the Collective? The one year where it was like
family reunion.
That was it. That was awesome. That was awesome.
That was another. That's like a good feather in the cap, because since I had gotten back into wrestling, this WrestleMania week didn't exist, in the previous 10 years, and that's what everybody was, fighting and clawing for, and that the first collective with the IWTV and the family reunion, with that being the first, I mean that was like probably the height, like a good height or a good peak at that time for IWTV, and there was a lot of eyes on that, and it was a big deal, and everybody worked hard, and it was nice to get that spot with O'Shea Edwards and Mr. Brickster, who's identifying demons right now.
Dude, okay.
Oh no, you're gonna get something written about me if I say something.
I know. I was biting my tongue the whole time. So I don't know how deep I want to go on this. I noticed on a tweet, like it had to have been like within the last day or so, I saw you tweet. It might have been underneath a Dylan Hale thing. I can't remember what it was. I saw it looked like the purple demon identified, and I put that together, and I was like, if this is what I think it is, that's really, really funny. I don't know if you want, I got it. I don't know if you want to go into this at all. Probably
no,
not,
I don't. Not really. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's happening. I just hope
nobody does.
Having fun, and I hope he's doing okay. That's all.
So do I.
I mean,
dude.
If I was topping as much as that, I'd probably be okay too. So I don't have time.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You kind of brought it up, so I just
well, Boston Nuga will be the podcast breaker on that one day, I hope.
Okay, fair enough. Shout out to the homie Ben, Boston Nuga,
who is terrible at karaoke, by the way.
Oh, really?
Really?
He sounds like Dan the Rev. I don't know. He was doing great. He sounded like the Rev. It was terrible.
Do you have a karaoke song, Dan?
I have many karaoke songs. But the very first one I ever did, I think, was Cutting Crew, I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. That was a good one. Amish Paradise was a fun one.
Oh, okay.
There we go. I serenaded to Dump Sanders' Flirting with Disaster. Did some Molly Hatchet for him. So I mean, I'm Asian. I like karaoke. I dabble. It's part of the Filipino culture.
You mentioned, Dump Sanders, your tag team partner, y'all being y'all the champions. He's obviously, one of the main guys, running New South. What are your, I guess, if you can give some more thoughts to the world on Dump Sanders?
Oh man, it's not cool to put him over, but he does a wonderful job. For some reason, I feel like people give me more credit sometimes than I deserve for like Alabama indie wrestling, but I wouldn't even be back in indie wrestling if it wasn't New South, and if it wasn't for Dump Sanders, and if it wasn't for Brandon Williams. If you get to know him, he's a really wonderful guy, really caring. It's just, he's not good at communication. And sometimes that, we're busy, we travel a lot and we got tons of shows all the time. He doesn't get back to everybody. It's part of wrestling. People that get upset are just, they're joining it's cool to dump on people. No pun intended. So, no, he's wonderful. He stepped back from general manager duties because he wants to be a competitor with me. and I want to spend as much time tagging with my best friend in wrestling. So, we've taken some outside dates coming up from New South, so that's fun because we've never wrestled as a team outside of New South, and we got some action Mike Jackson school shows as a team coming up. So, those will be a lot of fun, and not as stressful as having to wrestle at New South and then run a show. So this is gonna be like a vacation night.
Well, speaking of running shows in New South, I don't know if Jeremy was about to ask this. I can wait. You're probably on the same wavelength as me with this next question.
Yeah.
Okay. So cakewalks, Dan. This has become a thing on our show recently. It has completely unzipped like a piece of my brain that I haven't tapped into for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I went on YouTube the other day and like just watched people do cakewalks, like people would film cakewalks. Yeah, straight up. I don't want to like, I'm not the kind of guy who, like leaks DMs or anything like that. But I mean, Dave was really high on the idea of a cakewalk. It sounds like the wheels may be in motion potentially for a cakewalk situation in New South. I don't know if you can confirm or deny this, but your thoughts on cakewalks in general and if they should be a part of wrestling.
I mean, here's what I thought about cakewalks, and I've actually never participated in cakewalks despite going to a southern rural school. We did more of the ring toss for the 2 liters. That's more of our jam. Yeah. So, I remember winning a 2 liter of squirt back in elementary school, but my daughter's done cakewalks, so I get it.
Nice.
I would like to do a cakewalk before a show because during a show there's just too much going on. I don't want to do it during intermission because we're taking away from wrestlers trying to hawk their merchandise and make well-deserved bonus money. But we are talking about doing one for charity before a show. We just got to find a show where we're just not too busy to do one, and then have one of our up-and-coming good guys deal with that, and incorporate that as far as getting their face out to the crowd for a good cause. We would like to raise money for a local food bank or something like that with a cakewalk. I think it'd be fun.
I think it's great.
Whenever this happens, kind of shoot us a message, and we'll see how we can help out with this. I don't know if we need to call like a local bakery and be like, hey, what can we supply to the show to get this done? But I feel like we should be involved in some way in this. So I would like to, however we can help, let us know. And we'll
that'd be awesome. The best thing about wrestling is when it gets community. When you get community based, is the best. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was saying if Jensen is close to the show, this would be even more helpful if he could, bring the cake to the show, or if he's there at the show live,
he can cakewalk his ass down. So
exactly.
I don't know how close Gadsden, Alabama is. By the way, I wasn't the reason that it said Gadsden, Georgia on the initial report. I was going to throw that out there. That wasn't me, but Gadsden, Alabama. I don't know how close is that to like Chattanooga. Like, how did Dylan get there so quick?
Okay, so Chattanooga to Gadsden's about an hour and 20 minutes, and you cross the time zone back to Central.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Okay.
So he was Rick Rude that night.
Yeah. So, okay. How far is Gadsden from Atlanta?
220.
It's actually not too bad.
No, it's really not.
I mean, I'd love nothing more than to be involved in some sort of cakewalk, like that we kind of help manifest. But if I can't be there in person, we would love to help in some way, shape, or form. Get the word out there, help with the cake itself. I just think it's hilarious.
Gadsden would be a good venue for that too. I think Gadsden would be good, and that'd be the venue I'd like you to see because it's actually a really cool setup. There's another company that owns the building. It's in the mall, and it's called Spartan Wrestling. They have a training school. They're a nonprofit organization. They run a free show once a month. And then we make donations to their nonprofit, and we run our shows there too. So it's a really cool setup in an old movie theater, and they have a training ring in the back. They have a whole upstairs production area. It's a really cool place.
Same place that the show was in, or the Haas was taking place at.
Yes.
Yeah. That looks great. It looks like from like how it's shown on IWTV. The building looks great. A lot of fans in there. Good sound and everything. Yeah, Awesome. Yeah, I would love to see if we can get involved in something like this. This would be awesome.
Yeah. Let us know when this is going to happen, and we'll figure something out. We'll get it together.
Yeah, I got some local bakeries here that I definitely know of, so we
Okay.
could do a little something.
Yeah.
It's got. I mean, we were talking about it last week with Big Dave a little bit, like at TWE at the TW Arena, they got banana pudding. So it's like, like, I mean, there's absolutely a market for cakes and wrestling. I mean, what would be better than showing up to a local indie wrestling show and you're hanging out before the show and you're like, wait a second, there's a cakewalk going on. Like you put an entire cake in your car before the show starts. Are you from Gadsden? Like, were you like,
well, originally I'm from the Philippines, you see, and then when I immigrated to this country at a very young age. But this is my continental hometown.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm actually sitting in the driveway of my childhood home in the town over. So,
what can you tell people about Gadsden that don't know about Gadsden?
It's the City of Champions. That's the actual title of the city. It's right on the Coosa River. It's got a really cool downtown area. The venue in Gadsden is awesome. It's right by a really nice hotel that sponsors some rooms, Gadsden and Suites. There's a lot of golf courses. It's primarily been a retirement community ever since the steel plant closed down in the early 90s, and then the Goodyear plant shut down a few years ago. So we're trying to rebound the city, and we have a new mayor. I'm way too involved with local politics, but we've got a new mayor, and we're really trying to bounce back. And there's some stuff on the table for the city to help New South run something bigger than we're doing at Spartan Arena. So there's bigger venues in town, and we want to do something bigger with them. So I love Gadsden a lot. So it's where I've lived my whole life, despite 1 year in Birmingham, and that was the shits. So yeah.
Anything else, Jensen?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
I'm a big Gadsden mark. I mean, shoot, who wouldn't want to wrestle 10 minutes from home in front of a packed crowd on a good show? So,
hell yeah, the people love you. I love watching it. I've been a fan for, I can't believe how long ago. I mean, I know you've been around for a long time, but I consider myself like a real Cabana Man Dan fan ever since like the Sub Grabs days when I really started, because obviously like IWTV and the accessibility and being able to follow along so much easier in recent years has been so great as a fan of indie wrestling. And it's been great seeing you evolve. Like I remember you coming out with the coconut and like the shades and you know, the different gear, and we talked about we might be giant, or they might be giants. We might be giants. They might be giants. They might be giants. But to see what you keep doing and the people you're influencing and this new generation that's come along and everyone has such good things to say about you. It's been really, really cool to see, man. So, I'm glad to hear that this wasn't like a retirement thing, like you not doing Haas anymore. I was a little confused about that. So I'm glad to know that, you're still.
No. Yeah, no, it's not the end of the line yet. I don't know. I don't see it going too many years longer, or even, another year. It just depends how I wake up, and I'll keep working hard if my body lets me. I know my life is different now than it was when I was wrestling all over the indies and having a really good time. But I'm part of leadership and ownership of New South as well now. We've really boosted up some of our backstage stuff within the last year, and you can tell a huge difference in the product that we're putting out right now. We got sponsors involved, we got bigger crowds, we got production stepping up. I mean, there's a lot of, it's like, why do I want to be gone all the time if I can just make something fantastic with my best friends here and make it a destination for other people to want to come to? Because, I think my window on, I don't want to get signed. I've got a job with the government. I don't want to give that up. I've got a pension waiting for me. I've just got to do my time. I'm back in college. I just want to, my daughter's, she's 13 now. So that's definitely a bigger priority than wrestling, and just trying to balance it all. I can't do that if I'm like sleeping on the floor of somebody's house in the Midwest and just living in cars and stuff. It's just I did my time on that. That's good. I mean, I would do it again if it was for the right reasons, if it was for the right match or the right opportunity. Sure. I try to go to AEW anytime that they're close by to where I can potentially be backstage, and if they have something open, step in that spot, that'd be great. WWE is not really on the table as far as that goes, because I don't really have the best body anymore as far as like the bones and ligaments and stuff, but they're really cool about reaching out to me too. So it's nice to still be in that atmosphere, but I really get more out of producing a really good show, watching my friends do well, and helping guys like Big Dave, Tyler Franks, Hunter Drake, and then the next batch of people like your Marcus Dillon, Bubba Baz, Jake Franklin, just all these young guys. I want to give them what I didn't have. I did my training in the back of an antique store for $20 a week until the Outlaw show shut down. I didn't have a mentor. We didn't have somebody you could just text and call, or how to get in a carload, or how to do anything. So I just want to do the opposite of my upbringing for the people that actually want to do this. Because Alabama's hard. It's a hard state to break out of.
Well, I think what you're doing is awesome, man. I'm a fan. I'll always be a fan. So I appreciate you coming on the show, man. We really do. It's great catching up.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we get some details about the cakewalk, if we get a good local charity, we find some local bakeries that'll help us out. It doesn't have to be huge, because it's like the Spartan Arena only seats like 250, so it's not like our bigger venues like in Priceville where you can fit 1,000 people in there. So that's just a really cool thing, is being part of a show that feels like a territory is really cool.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing the territory crossovers, like I said earlier, with like these different company. I think there's a lot. There's a lot that we didn't get because of the pandemic, like that we missed out on, that I think was going to happen. They were setting a lot of stuff up then, I think, and I think there's an opportunity now to really do something special for the fans. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the possibilities coming up they're insane. Like I don't know. I don't even know where it can go. It can go 1,000 different ways, but the fact that it's going somewhere means that, the ones that win are the wrestling fans.
Yes.
So this is something that people have been asking, when's it going to happen, for years. And now that someone shot a shot, that's all it took.
Awesome. Where can people find you? Also, I want to make sure you plug everything. We'll, try to get the plugs out there.
Well, I'm not a hard Dan to find, Stephen. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Cabana Man Dan. You can find me on Instagram at cabana.man.dan. You can find me on Facebook, Cabana Man Dan. I'm a one of one until Rolando Perez tried to steal my gimmick back in the infancy of like New South. Like we weren't even on the internet or anything really yet. But that's like the greatest story that's never been seen, because it was before IWTV.
Gotcha. Rolando Freeman, for those of you who may not know, as well.
Oh yeah, Rolando Freeman, the big brother to Rush Freeman.
Yeah, it's wild. It's fun.
So if you know Rolando, he's a really good kid. He's another one of my children in wrestling. He's my first wrestling son, despite him trying to be a dick and steal my identity, because identity thief is no joke, Jim. And but he's recently had to have shoulder surgery, and it was worse than they expected. So check it out. If you know Rolando, buy a shirt from him, donate to his GoFundMe. Any bit helps. He does have marketplace insurance, but it doesn't cover a whole lot. So he still owes several $1,000s out of pocket for that. So any bit helps my good wrestling son Rolando.
Awesome.
Dan, we appreciate you joining us. Good luck with everything, and let us know about the cakewalk, and we'll be in touch with that and to help out however we can.
Yeah, and I have one more bit of advice. I know a lot of people ask me about advice in wrestling. It's like, always have I mean, wrestling's great. It is a finite career. Have something to fall back on. When I was in high school, that was the thing that my parents told me a lot. So I went to the community college and I got a 2-year degree in civil engineering, and I never knew that I'd ever use it. And then now I've got an engineering job with the opportunity to go back to college to get a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. And I think that message resonates with a lot of people, that even at 40, with a 20-year wrestling career and all the concussions and the bell shots, I could still go back to school and hopefully continue my career, outside of wrestling while still involved in wrestling. So, go do the drives, hop in the cars, but, have something to fall back on. A trades are very important. Actually, I know I'm sounding like Cabana Man Dad now, so I'm so sorry.
No, these are good messages. I'm glad that you were able to get that out there. I'm sure it'll help someone.
Yeah, and if you're a young wrestler, especially in the Southeast, it doesn't have to be the Southeast. If you just have just a question, if you want any advice, my DMs are open. I get all sorts of people asking me silly things or really important stuff. So, I made a good career as far as like traveling on the thrift. I'm like a very really big Bob Evans guy, so he helped me a lot too, getting back into wrestling. So there's a lot of things I can, I'd love to help people.
Awesome. Well, thanks again,
Appreciate
Dan,
it,
and best of luck going forward. We'll be in touch. So.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you guys. See
Thanks,
ya.
man.
Bye.
There you go, Cabana Man Dan from his remote island somewhere out there.
Yes, great guy. Really happy to have him on the show. We had a lot of New South coverage recently, so it's been a good run. There's more people from New South I want to interview as well, that we haven't yet. So there's always more people out there that we're able to talk to. So that's one great thing about wrestling. There's no shortage of independent talent out there. So
For sure.
and by the way, if you're watching this, whether you've reached out or not, I want to just message to the wrestlers out there. If you're heavily involved in New South, you're on my radar. If we don't get you immediately, I will get you at some point. Trust me. Like there's a whole list of people I want to interview that we haven't yet, and it's all just a matter of the right time to do it. So there's plenty more people that are involved in New South that I still want to have on the show. So just want to throw that out there for everybody.
There you go. All right.
Really
we're talking
halfway
about
through
the
AEW.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot more I can add to that other than I mean, obviously, like I want Hangman to get pushed. I'd be fine with him winning the Owen. I'd be fine with Ospreay. I mean, I think they're both good options. I'd want to see who else is going to be involved in the tournament, but it's already pretty stacked with just those two names so far.
I hope they have more top names. I hope it's not just those two, because I think that was my issue with it last year is you kind of knew it was setting up for a Danielson Hangman final, especially once Hangman was revealed as the wild card. Like there was no people try to say Jay White might have been Jay White going into that thing wasn't as hot as he is kind of now. Like Jay White now I think can fit into the tournament, but I'd like to see an MJF in the tournament. I'd like to see, if Swerve doesn't win the title of Dynasty, I'd like to see him in the tournament. I don't want the rest of the tournament filled out with guys who you just know aren't gonna win.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. Like it happens especially in like the Continental Classic, because like you have to have people in there like taking the losses to like keep the points like balanced to some degree. So I don't like that either, because you see some people like when the Continental Classic gets announced, you're like, well, most of those people aren't winning. But I'm with you. Also, side note, not the biggest fan of Hangman's haircut. Thought he looked a lot cooler with longer hair. Just it doesn't make me like Hangman less, obviously. He's still Hangman Page. I just thought it was kind of an interesting decision. Nothing wrong with getting a haircut, but I don't know. I feel like I can't be the only one who's like, does he look a little weird? Like he just looked a lot cooler before to me, but yeah, that might just be me.
Yeah, it is a weird look for him, especially with the mustache and the way he's got shaved now.
It's like shaved on the sides, but like thick here. Yeah, it's definitely a choice. But like Hangman is the kind of guy where like he's always beat to to his own drum. Like I remember he used to wear like those jeans that had like roses on them and stuff, and like flowers and whatnot. He always just like just did whatever he wanted, which I respect that. But yeah, it was kind of jarring. I was like, because it also, like, his hair's not blonde anymore. It just looks different. Not like totally different, but different enough that I'm like, these are all they were like changes that I wouldn't have made, I guess. I don't know. But nonetheless, it's still Hangman Page, and he's still super over. And personally speaking, I mean, I guess my decision could change depending on who else they announce, but like I honestly can't think of anyone off the top of my head that I would want to see win more than Hangman at this point. Because I think he's the best option to beat Moxley at this point also.
If Moxley's the champion going into All In.
Yeah, I don't think Swerve's going to beat him. I think it's a good matchup. Like, I like the matchup. I just don't think Swerve's going to win.
You're going to get a lot of people who are upset if Swerve loses.
Yeah, I mean, Swerve's great. He's one of their best, like, big match. I mean, every match he has in a big spot, he totally. I mean, even since back in Lucha Underground, he's been like that. Like, he deserves everything he gets. He's the man. But only one person can be the world champion at a time. And I'm not saying that Swerve shouldn't be the world champion again. Like, honestly, I'd probably prefer him to be the champion over Moxley right now, to be honest. But the story itself, I just feel like I feel like it's made for someone else to beat Moxley, not Swerve. That's really all it comes down to.
Well, that other person is climbing Mount Everest. So,
and that's why I've switched to Hangman, because I thought it was going to be Darby up until it was like pretty clear that it wasn't going to be, or if it's going to be, they're going to stretch that out way longer than I and the rest of the fan base, I'm sure, would want to see it get stretched out. It's already been stretched out longer than most people want to see. So.
The other AEW spotlight is Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey both winning the 4-way eliminator. And now we're going to have a triple threat match at Dynasty against Kenny Omega for the AEW International title. I talked a lot this week about, do you go with Ricochet? Do you go with Bailey? I thought Ricochet, there would be more story involved if you went with him, but Bailey would be just an awesome dream match. 10 years in the making, in a match Bailey has spoken that he very much wanted. They just went with both. They just decided to go with both. Yeah. What do you make of this match and this finish?
The match ruled. I love this match. I think all four guys looked great. And I think Mark Davis really stood out. Like, this was the best I've ever seen Mark Davis ever. Like, he's had a good tag team run. And it's not like he's like some scrub by any means, but like, I felt like he was going to be completely lost in the mix when they broke up Aussie Open. Like, when it was clear that Kyle Fletcher was going to be like a main event level guy, and obviously Ospreay was already there. It was like, I really thought, I hate to say this, but I didn't think we were going to see him on like TV at all. I thought maybe he'd be in like Ring of Honor, like relegated to some small thing here or there. He looked really good in this match. I think all four guys looked really good in this match. And I thought it was smart how they did the finish, because it made Speedball look good, like he was about to get the win. It made Ricochet look good as a heel, because he like stole half the win basically. And instead of them being like, there's no winner, or we have to go to sudden death or whatever, they're like, both guys win. And on one hand, I'm like, that's kind of lame as an idea. But on the other hand, I'm like, I'm not going to complain about getting Speedball versus Ricochet versus Kenny Omega. Like, it's random, but it's going to be an absolute banger. I have no reason to think that Kenny Omega is going to lose that match. But that's totally fine, because we're going to get a banger. And Speedball has been, I mean, in the 2 weeks he's been in AEW, they've made him seem like a big deal. So that's got to be, that's a good sign for Speedball, at least in the short term. So, Yeah, I thought the actual match was awesome. I did not expect there to be 2 winners, but the fact that it's setting up the triple threat that it's setting up, that's good. It's going to be great.
I think if they weren't going to go with Ricochet just clean, I like that they did kind of the triple threat, because as cool of a match as Speedball and Kenny Omega is, and it is a very cool match, it is basically, here's a cool dream match, and adding Ricochet to that is going to give it a little bit more heat, because now you have a heel who's been fantastic in this role. He was so good last night during the match, but then like when he just decided to be on commentary and decided to take a break to do the commentary stuff, like just really good stuff from him. So now you have a guy who can, play that role, play the heel role, play the cocky dickhead role during the match, while Kenny and Speedball kind of take turns beating him up before Kenny and Speedball, of course, inevitably clash as well. So I do like that they just, and now you have, 2 potential 2 one-on-one matches still down the line that you haven't done, because you're doing this triple threat match. So I like the decision that they went with to do the triple threat match.
We have more than that, because you also still have Ricochet and Speedball one-on-one, which is also in itself a dream match. So you're going to get multiple singles matches coming out of the triple threat also. One of my favorite spots of last night was it's funny because I thought the match was so good, and there's so much action, so many good spots. But my favorite spot honestly might have been Speedball doing, I've always forgot what he calls it, when he does the kicks, like the rapid fire kicks, and then Orange Cassidy followed up. Speedball kicks, of course. Yeah. And then Orange Cassidy did his slow kicks right afterwards. I love when they can incorporate Orange Cassidy doing that stuff in a way that actually makes sense, that it can actually make me mark out. The best example is when he did it to Sting on the outside. Yeah. They were both doing the thing, they were Orange Cassidy and him were doing the slow chest beat and everything. And then Orange Cassidy uses that to lure his opponent in, because he wound up getting the advantage on Speedball after he tried doing that to him and stuff. So yeah, really, really, really good stuff. And we're both in agreement. It's going to be a great match. Neither of us think that Kenny Omega is going to lose, but that doesn't matter. We're going to get some good singles matches coming out of it too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good for Speedball too. Like I keep saying, I was very much on and he still could get lost in the mix. I don't think I hope it doesn't happen, but this is very promising to see him start off this way.
Let's hit our other spotlight.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
Moose retained the TNA X Division Championship against Jeff Hardy in a ladder match at TNA Sacrifice. What'd you make of this match, Jensen?
I thought this was a lot of fun. We got most of what you want to see out of Jeff Hardy. We got the humongous ladder, the multicolor humongous ladder. We got a good spot where Moose Jeff Hardy hit a twist of fate off of one of those propped up ladders onto Moose. That was nice. Hardy, I don't think Hardy did the swanton off the ladder that I can recall, but he did do one off of the top turnbuckle through a table that was really gnarly. And Moose had a really good, he got thrown over the top rope, landed back first on a ladder on the outside, nailed it. I mean, hit it perfect. And the main reason I wanted this to be my spotlight was because, for one, it's another Jeff Hardy ladder match. We're still talking about Jeff Hardy ladder matches in 2025, which is kind of wild, but he's still it's something he's known for. It's a signature match of his, and he's still, he might not do as much of the crazy stuff as you're used to seeing, but he does enough of it that it doesn't feel like you're watching a parody of himself. It's he's still Jeff Hardy doing his thing, which is really cool to see. And then I've talked about it 1,000 times, but Moose deserves a lot of credit. He's very good. I still think he's very underrated in the grand scheme of things. And he's been a great X Division champion. I mean, I know he lost recently. It wasn't for the X Division title, but I mean, he lost to Obafemi, but you have to expect that given the situation. But in the TNA world, Moose is about as good as it gets. He has great matches. He's a homegrown star who's been there for a long time now. He keeps getting better. He looks like a pro wrestler. I think it's about time that people, not to say that people like completely sleep on Moose, but like I haven't seen him be put into a situation where he's failed. Like you put him in a ladder match with Jeff Hardy, it's like nailed it. And you put him in some sort of X Division match against someone you figure he wouldn't mesh well with. He knocks it out of the park. You put him in any kind of, he consistently delivers. And that was another example against Jeff Hardy. I thought it was really well done. I thought it was, I've seen people get speared into a table in the corner a trillion times. I see it about 20 times a weekend covering indie shows.
Like it sucked.
But that was a good one. And Moose's.
Oh, yeah, it was very good.
Right,
yeah,
right.
It looked like it sucked for Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, no, that was my point. I see that move all the time, but like that was the rightful finish to this match, which it was. I mean, it looked great. Moose climbs the ladder, grabs the title. So shout out to Jeff Hardy for still being Jeff Hardy, and shout out to Moose for knocking another one out of the park.
Yeah, it was a really good match. I didn't really expect it to be a bad match or anything like that. I think Moose is good in this environment, and obviously Jeff Hardy is outstanding in this environment, and Jeff still wants to and can do insane things.
Yes. Awesome.
So Moose is still the champion, the X Division champion, and no spoiler alert, but we could be seeing him in another kind of high risk match in the coming weeks.
Okay. I won't even guess. I mean, I have some guesses of what that could be, but I won't spoil anything.
Okay.
I want to remain spoiler free.
Other spotlights is Sting may or may not appear at the WWE Hall of Fame. We know Lex Luger is going in, and we know Lex has said he wants DDP and Sting to be there for the induction and to be kind of two inductors for him. Seems like the ball might be in Sting's court or AEW's court because he is under a deal with them. It's a Legends type deal. It still does work with them. It seems like WWE, Fightful Select reported that WWE has kind of made overtures about it. Lex has made it known that he wants Sting to be there. And the ball is going to be in Sting's court or AEW's court. Do you think we will see Sting as one of the inductors?
I can't put any words in anyone's mouths. This is me just talking as a fan. I feel like this has to be 100% in WWE's court because I can't imagine Sting not wanting to do it. So, sorry, not WWE's court. I apologize. AEW's court. Really, because I think WWE is going to, if they haven't already, they are going to try to get that done. And I think it is in everybody's best interest to let Sting do that. It's in the best interest of Lex Luger, who's, you can say what you want to about him in his almost like his past life. He's been tied to some really, really bad stuff. I live in Atlanta. I remember when Miss Elizabeth passed away. It was all over the radio in Atlanta. It was all over the place. And people were blaming Lex Luger even back then. This wasn't like a new thing that people were just now discovering that he was like, somewhat tied to that, right? And he has gone through a lot of shit in his life. He, I don't know how many things factored into him being in a wheelchair, but his story is essentially, I know he put a lot of stuff in his body that he shouldn't have, but, he lifted bad one day, like at the gym. He slept on it. He slept weird, woke up and couldn't walk. I mean, that sucks. I mean, like and for him to be the guy that he was in the terrible things he was involved with and doing to himself and getting other people involved with and so on and so forth, and then becoming paralyzed. The fact that he has turned it around to like be the guy that he is now, and it's incredibly inspiring as somebody who has neurological, like there's a lot of people in my family, myself included, like we deal with a lot of neurological issues in my family. And like, to some people, it might not be that impressive to see somebody stand up out of a wheelchair. To me, that's like insanely inspiring, knowing that he's able, and to see that DDP like is able to figure out things that doctors can't figure out. Like he's able to work with this guy to the point. I'm sure there's a lot of people involved, not just DDP, but you know what I mean? Like how long has this guy been in a wheelchair? And like you stay with DDP for a year and you're able to stand up now. You weren't able to do it with anyone else's help. That's insanely inspiring. It hits me really, really hard deep down in the feels, big time. And so I'm a Luger fan. I think that he's more than, quote unquote, paid for his sins, however you want to look at it. And if Sting is the guy he wants, I think Sting's the guy he should get, because if Sting wasn't tied to AEW at all, it'd be a complete no-brainer. Like Sting would be the guy. So to full circle this, it's a win for Luger. It's a win for Sting and DDP, guys who should be there and should be involved. It's a win for the fans, because as a fan of all these guys, I was a fan of these guys growing up as a kid. WCW was the reason I became a wrestling fan. I want to see these guys on a stage together celebrating Lex Luger's career. Lex Luger should have been in the WWE Hall of Fame a long time ago. This is super, super overdue. So it's a win for the fans that we get to see this. It'd be a win for the WWE, obviously, because they get to have this moment in their Hall of Fame. And it's a humongous win for AEW. Want to know why? Because this would be a humongous. I couldn't even put into words the L that AEW and Tony Khan would take in my eyes, in the eyes of the fans, and more importantly, the eyes of Sting. You don't want to mess with that. Like, if Sting wants to do it, imagine if AEW said, no, you can't do that. You think Sting's going to keep signing Legends deals with your company and want to be involved? Like, you gave him the best retirement ever. I love the retirement match that him and Darby had against the Young Bucks. It was amazing. And I understand 100% why Sting would want to be involved with AEW after his in-ring career is over. I completely get it. And as a fan, I love it. I love that I can still go to the store and I can buy Sting AEW figures on the shelves. I love it. I'm always going to be a Sting fan. You bought me, well, I bought it, but you picked it up for me, Sting's retirement figure signed. And I appreciate that so much that you stuck with that thing all night, had to bring it with you everywhere you went because you wanted to keep it safe for me. It's
because they don't provide bags at their shows.
Well, I know, but the point is, like, that's how much I love Sting. And if you're AEW, like, if you didn't let him do that, that's such a bad look for you and your company. Like, to not let him do that. They got to figure something out, obviously, between the two companies to make it happen. But I mean, if they can have Billy Gunn in the video game this year.
Yeah. Well, that's
it's like
the pushback from people is, what is AEW getting out of this? Because they always seem to give WWE something, whether it was Billy Gunn in the Hall of Fame or Billy Gunn in the video game, or Jericho sending in video messages, Bryan Danielson sending in video messages, and WWE in return counter programs all of their shows. So what is, if anything, does WWE kind of give back in this? Because, you know, the criticism that's going to come to Tony, and I thought SP3 put it very well on In the Weeds earlier today about the people who criticize Tony for not, if he does this, oh, he's soft, he's just bowing to WWE again, how could he do this? He's being pushed over. Those people are going to criticize if he does this or doesn't do this. If he doesn't allow Sting to do it, those people are going to criticize, how could you do this? You're taking away from the wrestling fans. You're taking away from Lex Luger, instead of being like, yeah, good job, Tony. You being a hardline boss. You shouldn't give it. They're going to criticize regardless. So I'm with you. I think it should happen. I would imagine if Sting wants to do it, Tony's not going to say no. I think Tony is a big enough wrestling fan. I think Tony has enough respect for Sting and has enough respect for Luger to where he's not going to be like, no, like WWE just continues to punch down at us all the time. Why are we going to allow you to go do this? I think Tony doesn't care about that as much as he cares about wrestling fans and Sting and Lex Luger.
I'm with you. I like, just for the record, I expect Tony Khan to not have pushback on this. I expect Tony Khan to let Sting do this. I fully expect that Sting wants to do it. So, the question is, what does AEW get in return? I don't know if there's like a fair, like, you know, 1-to-1 trade-off that I can come up with exactly for that. But what I would, what I would kind of allude to if I'm the WWE, if I'm on the phone, if I'm whoever's making this conversation, whether it's Nick Khan or Triple H, whoever's talking to Tony, what if, for the sake of this, is Triple H? Triple H calls Tony Khan directly. They have a one-on-one conversation, and Triple H says, Tony, Lex Luger really, really wants to have Sting inducted into the Hall of Fame. The fans want it. We want it. You know, it sounds like Sting wants it based on like him talking to Luger or whatever. Like, can we make this happen? Can we have Sting? I would kind of pitch it also from Triple H as like, you do see what we're doing right now, right? Like, as a company, you see what we're doing. Like, you see WWID, you see our relationship with TNA, you see our relationship with companies in Japan, overseas, and stuff we're doing. You know, let's do the right thing here. Like, well, we're going to remember that you did this for us. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying that it's going to form like some gigantic. Well, I'm just saying
they're
like,
not going to remember that they did this for them. They're not going to care at all. They're going to be like,
they're going to care.
Thanks.
I think they're going to care that they. Yeah, but I think that it's not like a few years ago we would have never said that. We would have said there's no way that WWE is going to have an actual working relationship with TNA Wrestling, have all this stuff that they're doing right now, basically their own forbidden door. I'm not saying that they're going to involve AEW on like a weekly basis or that they're going to have some like long partnership with them, but there's no way Triple H is going to be like, oh yeah, screw you. Like, how we got you guys. Yeah, you gave us Sting. Screw y'all. I mean, like that means something.
They're countering every show that AEW is running this year. It's not going to be screw you. You gave it to him, or you gave us Sting. You get nothing in return. It's going to continue to be thanks for giving us Sting. We're going to continue to go about our business, and you are in the way of our business.
Well, I do hope that I expect that Sting will be there inducting Lex Luger. I can't imagine the amount of bad faith it would be to the AEW fan base and to Sting himself if Tony stopped that from happening. You don't want that it's bad enough what they went through with like the CM Punk stuff. Like, you don't need the fans turning on you because you wouldn't let Sting induct Luger. You know what I mean? Like, just why would you even? It doesn't hurt AEW at all, by the way. Like, none of this hurts AEW. Sting's not even actively wrestling on your show. Most people don't even know he's tied to the company anymore. Like, yeah. Like I said, if he wouldn't have signed that Legends deal, it wouldn't even be a conversation. He would just be the guy inducting Lex Luger. It wouldn't even be a conversation. So, right. Yeah. Forbidden door. Anyway. Yeah.
I think it's going to happen, but you're crazy if you think that WWE and Triple H are just going to be like, we owe you one here.
Well, I think they're going to owe him something. I don't think it's going to be anything like massive, but I mean, throw him a bone in some way, shape, or form. I don't think it's going to prevent them from counter programming their show. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where, like, just because they get Sting one time that they're like, all right, well, we're going to stop counter programming you guys. But I don't know. A few years ago, I wouldn't have expected current TNA champion showing up in the Royal Rumble either. I mean, we got to think a little outside of the box now, considering that things have massively changed.
We don't have to think outside of the box when it comes to the number 2 promotion and WWE's place in the pecking order.
Well, see, the problem, or I shouldn't say problem, it's a different mindset. Maybe I'm looking at it from the WWE's mindset and not AEW's mindset. I see this as like, I don't know how else to say it. It's WWE and then everyone else. It just is. Like, AEW is definitely number 2, but it's such a far number 2 that, like, AEW can think all day that they're competing to some degree, but like they really aren't. Like, it's a completely, like, I think there's a lot of value in AEW. I'm an AEW fan. I think that they put on incredible pay-per-views, especially. And I think the Dynamites lately have been very good. I've watched every Dynamite in the history of the show. But like, Tony Khan should not be looking at this like it's us versus them at this point. Like, he needs to be looking at it like it's the WWE, and like, they're a different thing. They're completely different. They're in a different business than when AEW. It's not even, this isn't even like quoting CM Punk, but they're different. It's a different business. Like, I think it'd be in AEW's best interest to play nice with WWE at this point. I'll put it that way. We can move on.
All right. You're insane.
I'm going to give a big motherfucking shout out.
Clark Connors won the DEFY championship over the weekend. The title was vacated by Ricky Saints after he won it and then signed with WWE like 2 days later. So he had to vacate the title. Clark Connors is the new DEFY champion. What'd you make it?
Yeah, well, so to my knowledge, I don't think it's aired yet still. So, or at least I haven't seen the title change happen yet. I just know that it happened the other day. I think Clark Connors was a good choice. They wound up doing a one-night tournament. He wound up beating Starboy Charlie in the finals of the tournament. And obviously Clark Connors has been having a lot of big matches recently, whether it's, in the States or New Japan or AEW, like really everywhere he's popped up. He's done really, really well for himself. He looks like a star. He looks like he has a lot of talent, and he still like has a lot of untapped potential. It was funny, like you said, that Ricky Starks, now Ricky Saints, like he won the title and it was like this big moment. He beat Kenta, and then it was like he literally had to vacate right after. Like we saw him in NXT like the next day or whatever it was, like you said. I really like to see DEFY run more of their shows live, but I would say that about any company that's that isn't running shows live. Like I remember, I'm almost positive DEFY at one point was trying to run shows live on Pluto TV a while back.
Yeah, I think it was DEFY.
And I'd like to see them attempt that more, whether it's Pluto TV or Tubi or anywhere else. I mean, obviously Evolve's on Tubi now, but these like free streaming platforms, I can't speak to like logistically, like if it's more difficult to stream or, how that all works with rights and whatnot. I have no idea, but like, I just feel like you're doing yourself a really big disservice at this point as an indie company if you're not running live. And if you're not running live, I think you need to be airing it within like 2 weeks max of when it's live, so it doesn't get forgot about, or people aren't interested, or the wrestling world has moved on before it airs. Like New South is a good example. They had the Haas tournament within like a week or so, both nights available on IWTV. They did premieres so you can watch them with everybody when you knew it was premiering. Otherwise, you can watch it on demand, but everything that happened in that tournament within like a week or so of it happening. I got no problem with that. If it can't be live, that's totally cool with me. I know what's going on. I can watch it within like a week or so. I think DEFY is on the same type of schedule. Like I'd imagine if it's not already available, it will be available probably within like the next week or so, I would guess. But yeah, it's really my only other thought on it is like it would have been nice to watch this DEFY show live, or we'll be able to watch it live before like I covered it. But it is big news in the wrestling world because the DEFY World title is a very prestigious independent wrestling world championship. It is not the IWTV Independent Wrestling World Championship, not to be confused with that title. And I'm also interested to see what happens with this WWE ID Championship, the men and women's ID titles that are going to be out on the indie scene too, to see how they kind of incorporate those on these shows and stuff. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. Congratulations to Clark Connors.
Clark Connors rules. He's been on In the Weeds before. A great interview with him, and I'm curious to see how long he keeps this title because, excuse me, he's doing good things in New Japan right now. He's about to challenge for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title against El Desperado in a couple of weeks. So I'm curious to see how long he keeps the DEFY Championship because he's moving up the ranks in New Japan, where Kenta, when he held the title for as long as he did, Kenta was just kind of there in New Japan, and it was a lot of times more active on the US Indies than he was New Japan for a long stretch last year. So we'll see how often Clark Connors is kind of making trips overseas, given his role is increasing in New Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested. I'm glad he's having success in New Japan also. I mean, he's been talented for a while. He was a part of that, whatever they called it, like the Fab Four, or whatever they called.
Yeah, him, Alex Coughlin, Gabe Kidd, and Fredericks.
All Fredericks. Yeah.
Who is Eddie Thorpe now.
Who, by the way, I love seeing his success in NXT. Like, I don't get to watch the show that often, but like, I love that he's been like heavily involved, like main event level. I watched the Underground match. I did watch that. I got to go out of my way to watch the Undergrounds. Too bad Omos isn't watching the door anymore. Those were the days. But I like that Eddie Thorpe is my brother also. This is so random. My brother's he likes Tatanka. Like he just always, for whatever reason, like was drawn to like the Native American character and things like the headdresses and everything looks cool. And I showed him, we were playing the video game, playing 2K25, and Eddie Thorpe's on there. My brother was like, "Whoa, who's this guy?" And I was like, I was like, I actually interviewed that guy before he was in the WWE. And he was like, "Dude," he was like, "New Tatanka?" And I was like, surprisingly, that's kind of what they're going for. He is like representing like the Native Americans on NXT. But I think he's a really talented guy. Like I think he was TV ready before he even signed with WWE based on like his New Japan work. And he's only getting better, in NXT. I saw him put Shawn Michaels like up against the wall not too long ago. Looked like he was like brewing something up with him at one point. So I'm very happy to see the success of Eddie Thorpe. I made sure I got a signed. He doesn't have a figure yet, but I got a signed card because I like to. Anyone that we ever interview on the show, if they have memorabilia, I try to get something signed by everybody that we have on the show. If they have like an action figure or like a trading card or something. So
there you go.
Anyway, those are the guys.
All right. The other indie spotlight was our interview with Cabana Man Dan.
Show's over.
Yeah, show's over. Bye, everybody.
Anything
else, Jensen?
No, not really. I follow me on X at Fight Talk _ use code Fight Talk and independentwrestling.tv. Listen to the Fightful Select Weekender podcast. That's Sundays or Mondays on FightfulSelect.com. The schedule of that show is dictated completely dependent on what's going on in the indie wrestling world. For instance, right now, I haven't even looked. I'm going to look on Triller TV Plus right now. Are there GCW shows on Sunday this week? Are there any GCW shows this week? Let's see. Saturday, Sunday. I don't think so. So there's a good chance the Weekender will be on Sunday this week, unless there's like a big show that I'm missing. Like last week, for instance, GCW ran a show at 5 p.m. on Sunday. I was ready to record the Weekender. I was going to record it Sunday night, but DPW, which also Deadlock is like the same type of thing. They air their shows pretty fast, but like, man, if Deadlock was live, it's already one of the top indie promotions, but Deadlock would be like tops if they were running live shows. But I was waiting to get results for that, and they didn't come in, by Sunday night. So I waited till Monday. They still weren't in. So I just wanted them recorded. But anyways, that's all I've got. Skull Vikings. Enjoy watching sports, everybody. Don't lose all your money. Gamble responsibly. Be like me. But yeah. What do you got, man? What are you plugging? What do you have going on?
I don't plug anything. I never plug anything.
You'll be back here in like 12 hours.
Yep. 13 technically. We start at 10. So
yeah.
Yes, I'll be back tomorrow in the weeds with Joel Pearl. Tomorrow's episode, by the way, all super chats are going to Future Stars of Wrestling and their Benefit for Bay show. So
nice.
Money is going to be going to them. Their show is on Sunday, is on March 23rd. The Benefit for Chris Bay show. We had Joe DeFalco, the FSW promoter, on the show yesterday, and he gave a lot of good insight about the show and putting it together and talking about Chris and everything he's gone through. And Chris has been involved with the show. Chris is scheduled to appear at the show, and they're going to be raising money for him. And so any super chat money we get tomorrow will be going to that fund as well. So I will plug that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I saw that Chris Bay was on Chris Van Vliet. I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet, but obviously, yeah, shout out to Chris Bay. I've been a fan of his for a long time, and obviously nobody likes to see what happened, what he's going through. I mean, I can't even put it into words, but I'm glad that he's recovering. So that's, yeah, that was scary. That was one of the scariest things I've seen. That injury. So yeah, I think that's awesome that you guys are doing that. Is there any chance of him showing up tomorrow, Chris Bay, like on y'all show?
Bay? No, I don't want to put that out there. I don't think there is any chance of that happening.
Sorry, maybe I'm not trying to like put anyone on the spot. I just didn't know if.
No,
He's doing
maybe.
interviews.
Yeah, maybe if something happens and we get lucky and we get surprised, but as far as I know, it's not happening.
Well, shout out to Chris Bay. Everyone go support. That's a great cause. As someone who deserves the help, needs the help right now. Like I'm glad you guys are doing that. Is you and Joel tomorrow morning?
Yes, SP3 might pop in tomorrow because he has a new list on SI that'll be dropping, so he might pop in to plug his list. And
nice. I'm sure that won't be like controversial or anything at all. Like people want to have polarizing opinions on whatever list he puts out. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I doubt I'll be able to watch, unfortunately, because we're gonna be fucking swamped at my shoot job tomorrow. I'm already dreading it now. And I have to clock in. I got to clock in about 12 hours for the shoot job. But
enjoy your evening, and I will watch the end of Impact and I don't know, do stuff. So
yeah, probably going to Waffle House or something. See you guys.
Talk to everybody next week. Talk to everybody tomorrow on In the Weeds if you watch that show. Otherwise, see everybody next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.